Nick's Garage is supported by Atlas Equipment and K-Tool International.
Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to my shop. Well, we got something special that came in today. We got a 70 Charger 500 that belongs to Alain from Sherbrooke, Quebec. He brought it in just a little bit earlier today. He wants me to look into something with the head gasket and a couple little details. But, you know, we're going to get to later on that with the in the future video on this. But in the meantime, I got something very special. I've got a Ford Galaxie that came into my shop last week, right over here. It was running with a 427 side oiler. Yes, we've taken the engine out of the car and had it installed on the dyno. But in the meantime, this is the original engine that came out of the car. It's a 390, which Francis told me to put it back in the car because it belongs to this car. And he's asked me to put the 427 on the dyno. He wanted me to run it, and because he wants to see how it runs, how it goes, so he can put it up for sale. So if you guys walk in the dyno room with me, you're gonna see our little setup. You know, the way it was taken out of the car, it was thrown on the dynamometer, and I wanna make a few tests. So let's head on to the dyno room and see what we've got. And here she is, that 427 side oiler. You know, someone did mention on a comment that I did have a 427 Ford on the dyno in the past. Yes, but that was not a side oiler like this one. This is very, very rare. It is more rare than a 426 Hemi. This is a side oiler, 427 cubic inch. I believe it's a 1964. I'm not so sure. It's got a Edelbrock aluminum cylinder heads. It also has the Performer RPM intake manifold, and I want to mix up test to see what kind of power it makes. You know, there was a few different versions of the 427. In 67, if I remember correctly, or in 64, 65, I don't remember exactly because I don't really know my Fords that well. They also had the two 4-barrels that made 425 horsepower with a 12.0 compression ratio. And then they had the 4-barrel version, which I believe was a 11.6 compression ratio that made 410 horsepower. So let's see what this one does. I don't know what it's gonna do, but just to let you know, it's within a 410 to 425 horsepower. Imagine that being a 2.4-barrel on this. Now that is super rare, but this is what we've got. But in the meantime, I've installed my 750 double pumper HP Holly on it because, as you all know, taking this car out of the trailer was a difficult problem. The problem was not the engine. The problem was right here. This carburetor was so stubborn. The fuel was not getting to it. The accelerator pumps were jammed. I was pushing hard on it. All of a sudden, this one's working. And this one was hard, and it still is hard. And it's probably dried up. And you know, I didn't realize that the car was in the trailer, I believe, for more than 2 years. I thought Francis just drove it in a few days before just to bring the car here. I wasn't so sure. Then I figured that out after. You know, smelling the raw fuel, having no fuel in the tank. The accelerator pump didn't want to work. I don't have a choke on it. It was a very cold day. It wasn't a day for me to go switch carburetors outside. Then I said, you know what, maybe with some brake cleaner, spray it in there, I'll get it going and bring it in. You know, it was a challenge, but we finally got it in. So now I've got the carburetor off the engine and I've got it here. And I'm telling you that these pumps were not working, and I couldn't even have it working at fast idle even though I turned the RPM screws up, and there's no choke, so it was a little bit difficult. But it doesn't matter. Like I said, the problem with the 427 side oiler was not the engine, it was the carburetor. Okay, so what I want to do here in front of all you viewers, I just want to remove the flow bowl, see what we have in there. After all, this car sat for a few years, and I was telling you this is jammed, look, and now this one, sitting in a warm garage for a while, it's starting to move. Remember I was showing you guys that this did not move while it was outside? And this one here, that's the accelerator pump for the rear 2 barrels, and this is the one, I'm sorry, this is the front, this is the back, look. Now they're starting to move. So, let's take up the fuel bowl, take a look inside. Maybe we might see something, maybe not. I know that this thing needs an overhauling, but it's not gonna work. because I need to put it back into that car to get it running. So before we do that, we got to rebuild this. And yes, we're going to do it in-house over here. So all I want to do is just remove the fuel line. I think my guys had slacked them off on the car. And you know, the reason why I didn't change the carburetor outside was, you know, there were different fuel connections, fuel lines were different, and it was a cold day, so I didn't want to go through all that. So I wanted to keep it simple. I've done it before, spraying brake cleaner in the carburetor to get it going without a fuel pump, without fuel in the car, and all that. So we've done it many times before. And that is something you guys don't do. This is when I do it over here. Let the professionals do it. Let's tear it apart. I just want to take a quick look inside. So before I get the engine running, let me just take out the full bolts and see what we got. There we go. Let's take out the one in the front. Here we go. This is not a Holley carburetor. This is a Proform 750 carburetor, which I intend to put it back on the car to get it running. So before I do that, let's see what's in there. I have to get it fixed. But in the meantime, I put my own carburetor from the dyno on the engine to get it running for you viewers to see later on. Look at that, a lot of corrosive in there. I didn't even get the flow bowl out yet. Okay. Did the gentleman have stabilizer, fuel stabilizer in this car? Put in the tank, had it running for a while before he put in storage? I don't think so. Because I don't think they had planned. Like he said, his buddy Baba passed away, and after that everything was just left alone. Anyways, the reason it's here is for me to get it going. I can't even get the screws out. Look at the rust in there. This gasket disintegrated. Look. This stinks. Get him in. There we go. Look at the screws. They're all rusted. Look at that. Okay. Look at the gasket. It's just cracking apart. Here. Look at this, you guys. Look at this. See what I mean? Look. Okay. Now let's take out the metering block. There we go. Power valve seems like it's dried up. Okay. Now let's take off the other side. This is the one in front. Oh my God, it stinks. Raw fuel. You know what happens, with this raw fuel? It gets to your clothes and you go home and you better throw the clothes in the laundry because it's going to stink up the whole house, let me tell you. Okay. I'm sure my wife won't appreciate it. Check out the gasket, how it falls apart. Take a look right here. Look at this. Look at that. Yeah. Look at the corrosion right down in the corner, right there. So you know this carburetor sat with fuel for a while. All right. Okay. So anyways, the point is, this was the issue with the problem. Now, you know, that's another thing. changing the fuel in the gas tank. Make sure the fuel gauge works, because I need to check that also later on. Okay, so this is the reason why we had a hard time starting the car or the engine outside. So I just want to remove the diaphragm. Look, for some reason right now it's working. Look, it's working. This is the lever I was trying to push down that did not move at all when I was outside. But just to show you how an accelerator pump diaphragm looks like in this type of carburetor, I will show you right now. Let me just take off the plate. Give me a second. There's one on this side too. See, this one's working now. Meanwhile, when I needed it to work outside to get me going, didn't want to know nothing. Anyways, let's open it up. I will have to replace them anyways, because you know the rubber, as it dries up, it does not flex anymore, and it will no longer work anymore. Wow, look at the rust in there. Look at all the corrosion. See all the rust in there? That's what I was trying to talk about. So anyways, just wanted to let you guys know that the issue, having a hard time start the engine, was all right here in the carburetor. It was a fuel system, not the engine itself. So let's get back on the 427 over here. All right, the engine's cold. I have not started it yet. Let's get it warmed up and see how it goes. Let's check the oil pressure. The only thing is I don't have anything hooked up for air-fuel ratio, but I know the carburetor is tuned for the correct air-fuel ratio for this engine or any other engine. It is it should be within the numbers. I've got the little shorty headers that came with the engine out of the car. We also used a 2.5-inch exhaust pipe, and I did also a cylinder test. I have 175 psi cylinder pressure. I checked 3 cylinders; they were all equal. It's got Elderbrock cylinder heads, and it also has the RPM Performer intake from Elderbrock. 4-barrel setup. It's a dual plane high-rise. It's got a 1-inch spacer. I don't know what cam is in there or what kind of rockers. I believe it's a hydraulic flat tap or roller. I'm not so sure. If you guys want to see, let's get it started and see how it goes. And some of you viewers are asking probably, what's all this chain doing here? Only it's because the thermostat housing, the outlet goes on a 45-degree this direction. So for me to put this hose on, because you know I can have 10,000 different hoses. So what I use this hose, and I brought it up because as it hangs down, it made a big kink. It kinked the hose, it would stop the water circulation. So by raising it, kept it open, and now I got a flow. So for that reason, I'll leave the chain in place to keep the hose in place, keep the water flowing, and we'll do the testing as it is. I'm going to start her up, warm it up, make one test just to heat sink the block. Then after that, I'll make another test, and we'll take maybe if it needs a few more, and we'll take it from there. So the timing, I checked it earlier, it's at 37 degrees maxed out, and let's see how it goes. Okay, here we go. any noises on the lifters when it's cold, but it seems good. Looks good. So far, so good. Let me go check it again. Just give it a few minutes. I want the oil to heat up also, get warmed up, and we'll make one test and then we'll do a second test and we'll take some numbers down. The dual oil filters that you see there is an aftermarket setup. Usually the oil filter is directly with the oil filter adapter to the block on the lower side of the block on the driver's side. But the dual oil filter setup is aftermarket, it's custom, and I left it the way it came out of the car. It's warming up, give it some time. Like I said earlier, I do not have an O2 sensor on it, air-fuel ratio I should say. I know that carburetor is not going to run in lean or rich, but we're just here to make a few tests, make sure it goes good. And you see the motor runs well. Check the oil pressure, check for vacuum leaks, check for any oil leaks. So far I don't see any oil leaks whatsoever. It's got a good idle. It made no noises while it's cold, so that's good. I believe it's a hydraulic cam. Flat tap or roller, I'm not sure. Well, let it warm up and see how it goes. Okay, I'm just going to make one quick test. It's not going to be a test. Actually, I just want to heat sink the block. Then after that, we'll back to back. And here we go. I did not mention what RPM level we're going to go at. Here it is. We're going to start at 2800 RPM and take it to 5300 RPM. All right, here we go. Okay, like I said earlier, we're just gonna heat sink it right now. I've got the time at 37 degrees. And don't forget, you guys, this is not a fresh, refreshed, rebuilt engine. I believe it's an older rebuild from a long time ago. I don't know. I did not build this one. I did not have any time at when this engine was built. I know it's got the aluminum cylinder heads being replaced by elder blocks. So anyways, my goal is here to see how this engine runs so I can show you viewers and also for the owner to see what he's got before he puts it up for sale. There's two versions of the 427, but you know what? The 427 with the two full barrels with a 12.0 compression ratio, 8 barrels, 2 barrel with a lot more compression, made 425 horsepower. Now this being a full barrel, and full barrel was also available to 427 with a lesser compression of maybe 11.6 compression ratio. It made 410 horsepower from the factory. And don't forget, this engine only has 175 cylinder pressure that I've tested on 3 cylinders. Now if you bring that up to a higher compression ratio, it'll meet those goals. If you guys take a good look here, this is what we ended up with right now. A 393 at 5100 RPM. It's a 4 barrel, it's a low compression engine. It did pretty well. You know, factory was 410 on a 4 barrel version. So I'm just gonna make another test back to back and let's see how it goes. Here we go. Here we go. Oil pressure is good. There's no noises. Everything looks good. So I'm ready to make another test. Here we go. Okay. Let's not forget, you guys, we also have old spark plugs, old spark plug wires. You know, this is not tuned up or anything like that. We're just making a test as it is. Here we go. So now that the block was heat sink and we run the coolant at a little bit cooler temperature, here's the results right here again. Maybe I should go up a little bit higher RPM. It looks pretty good so far. Oil pressure is good. We're at 399.5 at 5100 RPM. We're almost at factory numbers at 410. And you know, like I said, this engine has a little bit less compression than it did from the factory. So it's pretty good from what I see. I haven't played with the timing. I checked it. It's at 37 degrees full advance. The vacuum advance does not work on the distributor. So I did not bother connecting it. What I did is I adjusted it so that it could be a full advance at 37. And we're running Petro-Canada 94 fuel on this. And what more can I say? This is it. Like I said, I just wanted to pull the engine out of the car, dyno test it, see what we got, and there's the results right here. I'd like to try one more just to get it to 400 horsepower. Just want to see, look, we got 399.5. You know, in many cases I always get stuck there, but I want to see a 400. So we'll do another test. I'm going to cool it down, put the fan on, George, and we'll just do another test back to back. You know, if anyone's interested in buying this engine, let them tune it the way they want. But in the meantime, I don't want to break it. I just want to make one more test and see how it goes. After all, you guys, it's a 427 side oiler, which I'm going to show you how you know the difference. And it's a very rare engine. It's a lot more rare than a 426 Hemi. And it's a very strong engine. It's also a 4-bolt main. I don't want to do anything to damage it. It's not built by me. It does not belong to me. So I'm going to do one more test, and then we'll go through it after, and that'll be the end. All right, I'm not going to do any timing or anything like that. Let's go. Here we go. We're going to run the cooler in 145, 146, so here we go. wasn't happy with that. The exhaust pipe came off on the other side. It's not bolted down. We just slid it over to the exhaust pipes that came from the car, which is a 2.5 inch tubing. Let me just put it back and then we'll make another test. I want to hit that 400. This was the results right now. We have a 397. Let's do it one more time, but let me first hook up the pipe on the exhaust. Oil pressure is good. So far so good, you know. Not bad at all. There we go. It kind of slid out, but you know what? I'll do another test because I want to make sure. Okay. You guys want to see another test? We'll do it one more time. Okay. All right. I think we got it. Look, no oil leaks whatsoever. Look at that. Great. No rear seal on this one to worry about. Don't forget, you guys, it's got the old spark plugs, old wiring on the plug wires, and of course an old cap. But here, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about, a side oiler. It's got the screw-in core plugs right there. And if you look down here, if you take a look here, that's an internal oil line or a vein for the oil. If you see the plugs, this is what they call it, a side oiler. And if you take a good look over here, you got the full bowl main, just like a 426 Hemi. So there you have it. This is a true blue 427 side oiler, very rare engine. Okay, I'm just curious to do one more test. You guys with me? Let's do it. I want to aim for that 400. Come on. Or maybe I should advance the timing a bit. Maybe not. 37 should be okay. Nah, let's try it there. Okay. Put the fan on, George, please. The exhaust is back on. I think we're good. Okay, here we go. One more time. Maybe I should bring it up a little bit more higher RPM. I'll bring it to 54. 28 to 54 at 300 RPMs per second. Here we go. Are we gonna hit that 400 mark? Here we go. Yes. We did it. Here we go. Okay, there it is. 402.2 at 5100 RPM. There we go. Not bad. Torque numbers are within the 462 range, 461 range at 3800 RPM. But the horsepower is there, 402.2 at 5100 RPM. Now before I take the engine off the stand, or should I say out of the dyno, I just want to start it up one more time, make sure there's no noises or any oil leaks before I take it off. And here we go, just on idle. Very good, and let's go. Okay, there we have it. The oil pressure is good. I don't hear any noises on the engine at all. I didn't feel any vibrations at all. It's got no major oil leaks whatsoever. So from what I see, it's running pretty good. It's almost at the factory horsepower. And if Francis has it up for sale. If anyone is interested, send me an email to my shop at Indie Auto, and I'll take it from there. And if anybody's interested in it, I'll forward information to Francis, and you guys take it from there. And here's a chance to own some old Ford history, a 427 side oiler. It's a rare engine. If you guys have that unique car that deserves this engine, this is for you. And I want to give you guys a big thank you for joining me here in the dyno with this very rare engine, 427 side loader, 1964, 65, whatever. Super rare, more rare than a 426 Hemi. And thanks for watching me on Nick's Garage. And don't forget to subscribe and press the like button, you guys. And thank you. Peace, love, and muscle cars. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.